Hello everyone, Nils here and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video we're going to be starting off with a sort of mini series of 4 videos where we're going to be looking out on each and every fighter from all 16, 17 if you take Halloween into the equation, worlds, and all of the fighters that are split into these 4 different categories. Normal raid crafted fighters, secret fighters, shiny mythical fighters, and shiny craftable raid fighters. Starting off with a very basic one, we're going to be looking at today at the normal raid crafted fighters, and we're also going to be using some mathematical equations to figure out how much yen it takes to craft one. As always though, you guys keep in mind that this number that we're going to come to is basically the pity. So if you are the unluckiest person in the world and you don't manage to pull a mythic one before the pity, that's how much yen it's going to cost you. Now, for those of you who may not know what the pity is, essentially the pity system is like a sort of a bad luck protection system, which means that if you keep on opening stars and opening, after an X amount of stars, which I think ranges from 4k to 12k, maybe on the very first worlds it's even less than that. I think Namek is 400, not 4k, my bad. But anyway, it's like an X amount of number where after opening this amount of stars, you are guaranteed to get a mythical. So no matter what you do, the price that we're gonna set for each and every fighter is like the highest amount of yen that you can spend. Obviously, the higher the luck you have and just getting lucky, you can reduce this amount of yen spent by a lot. Starting off with the very first world, Super Island, or Namek as it used to be called before the game was shut down, aka Dragon Ball. Here we have our craftable fighter. You can see him just on the right side of me. He's Ultra Instinct Goku pretty much. His in-game name is Ultimate Heka, and if we head over here to the fighter's index, you can see him right here. So his level 1 damage, base damage is 94, and just to put in comparison with the normal mythical Penny, aka Piccolo, his damage is 62, and the secret unit for this first island is obviously Frieza, level 1, 120 damage. So he's kind of balanced evenly between these two right here, and obviously he looks pretty cool. Definitely looks better than both of the other units, and in order to craft him what we need is come over here to the machine. We need 3 of the mythical Piccolos here and 5 of the raid shards in order to craft him. Now if we head over here to the star, you will see that the mythical pity for this fighter is actually 4k, and the base cost of the star would be 60 yen with VIP and 80 yen without VIP, which if calculated would mean for each mythical unit it would cost you 240,000 yen with VIP, 320,000 without VIP, and for the entire craftable, which would require 3 of each copies, would mean 720k for VIP users and 960k for people without VIP. Lastly, before we head over to the next world, let's see how his ultimate attack looks. He appears to be a pretty quick fighter. You see just 3 hits to charge up his ultimate, and he basically just launches backwards and he does a gigantic Kamehameha. Overall, a pretty cool ultimate ability. Next up, we are over at the Naruto world, and our crafted fighter for this world is this ninja right here, Master Shashi. He has a katana as well, purple hair. Pretty cool looking unit in my opinion, and if we open here the fighter's index, his level 1 damage is 98. Just to basically have a better idea, the normal mythical is 65 and the secret is 120, so the secret is basically the same one as on the Super Island. As you can see, no changes. This one is slightly better, if I recall. Yeah, it is slightly better. And for testing purposes, level 175 Master Shashi gives us 20 billion damage. Coming over here at the Ninja Star, you see that our price with VIP is 225 yen. Price without VIP would be 300 yen, and our mythical pity is 5k, which means if you have VIP for one mythical Musashi, you would need 1,125k, and for the whole craftable unit, 3,375k, and for non-VIP users, it would require you 1.5 million for each mythical unit and 4.5 million for the entire craftable. He's a pretty slow unit in terms of ultimate. You see it takes him a whole bunch of attacks to charge up his ultimate. We're on 4 now, so 6 hit unit. Although his ultimate does look pretty good, he just goes backwards and then his blade gets caught up in like some sort of a black shadow and he just slices through. Pretty nice ultimate. Next up we have Jojo's. So next to me here I have the craftable unit from this map. Unfortunately I don't know the name of this unit, but he looks pretty unique, you could say. He's sitting currently in a vulture and his animation is pretty funny actually when he moves. But yeah, anyway, his in-game name is Yen Requierements, and if we go over here to Fighter's Index, you can see level 1, 100 damage, normal mythical 69 and secret 130, level 175, 21 billion damage in total. Over to the Crazy Star, the price with VIP for each star is 1.87k yen, and that would mean 2.5k if you're not a VIP user. And let's see over on the PD. So the PD is still 5k. It has remained the same as of the previous world. It has not increased. Which means for VIPs, each mythical PD would be 9,375,000 and the entire craftable would cost 28,125,000. And for non-VIPs, each mythical would cost 12.5 million and the entire craftable would be 13.5 million. His entire animation is pretty funny. He has this sort of a pirate attacking for him. And you see his ultimate is a little bit slow in terms of charging. It's a pretty generic one, like the pirate just lunges through and slices him, and that's pretty much it. Next up, we're headed over to the Fruits Island, aka One Piece, and next to me I have this craftable unit here. He looks pretty good. It looks pretty classy. His in-game name is Taffy Longman, and if we go over here to the Fighter's Index, you see level 1 gives us 110 damage, his mythical 72, and the secret 130. And let's see, level 175, it would translate over to 22 billion. Over at the Pirate Star, price with VIP for each star 7.5k. Price without VIP would be 10k, and the PD here is 6k for this one. Which means for VIP users, every mythical would cost 45 million and the entire craftable 135 million. For non-VIP players, the PD would be 60 million for each mythical and 180 million for the entire craftable. His animation takes a while to load as he is a very slow unit. See here, it takes him a little bit of time, and honestly he has one of the weirdest animations that I've seen in the game. Just has a whole bunch of lines that kinda slice through the unit. On a side note, this unit right here is the Halloween unit from the Halloween update that was removed the past Saturday. So the reason I'm showing this to you now, guys, is basically in terms of power, anything from all these fighters here from the One Piece / Fruits Island in terms of power is exactly identical to the Spooky Island. It's basically, they just copied everything and they changed up the units and the way they look. So the damages are all the same, nothing is different. And let's go ahead here and have a look on Wendy's ultimate ability. Looks kinda cool. It's like a sort of a undead female human tree. I don't know what the hell that is. But pretty fast ultimate, just 4 hits, as you see here, and she kind of like sort of breaks down and cries. I don't know, she cowers in fear and then she just has like a huge AoE explosion. Next up, we are over on My Hero Academia, and next to me I have this very bright fighter. He has a whole bunch of lightning around him, and like his body just has all these red lines. I think his name is Deku, not entirely sure. Also, for those of you guys that may be older players, this fighter was bugged for a really long time in terms of damage. However, he was fixed last update, so feel free to go ahead and use him. And going over here to the index, level 1, 110 damage, similar to the previous one. And these are his mythical and secret counterparts if you guys want to compare. Level 175 would give 23 billion damage. Over at the hero star, the price with VIP is 37.5k. Price for non-VIP users would be 50k yen, and our mythical pity is over at 7k, which means that for VIP users, a mythical copy would cost you 262.5 million, and the entire craftable would cost you 787.5 million, and for non-VIP users, 350 million for one mythical copy and 1.05 billion for the entire craftable. He has a relatively quick ultimate in just 4 hits, which looks pretty cool. It sort of looks like a barrage of fists in front of him. Next up, we are visiting the Titans, and next to me I have the craftable unit from AOT. His name is Omega Hunter right here in the game, and if we go over here to the fighter index, level 1, 120 damage, his normal mythical 80, the secret 150, and if we were to go with level 175, he would do 24 billion damage. Over at the attack star, it costs 187k yen for each one with VIP, and for non-VIP users this would be 250k for each one, and our pity here remains still on 7k. Which means that for VIPs it would be roughly 1.31 billion, and the entire craft would be roughly 3.94 billion, and for non-VIPs each copy would cost 1.75 billion and the entire craft 5.25 billion. He is a relatively quick unit. His ultimate does not take a lot to charge. You see here 3, just 5 hits to charge, and as you would expect, he turns into a titan. He smashes his feet on the ground and he causes a gigantic shockwave in front of him. Next up, we are over at Demon Slayer, and next to me I have the sleepy boy here, sleeping, aka Zenitsu. He looks pretty nice. He has this huge katana, which also has this little logo embroidered on it, pretty cool. So level 1, 130 damage, level 175, 25 billion damage. Over at the Demon Star, each star costs 600k with VIP, 800k without VIP, and our PT here goes up to 8k. Which means each mythical copy costs 4.8 billion, and the entire craft costs 14.4 billion for VIPs, and for non-VIP players 6.4 billion each mythical, and a grand total of 19.2 billion for the entire craftable. So Zenitsu is the fastest ultimate attacker in the game. However, his normal crafted version requires 2 attacks. His shiny does only 1, and you have this colorful flash ability here. Next up, we are in Tokyo Ghoul, and right next to me I have the craftable fighter for this map, which is Edge God, as his name is. If we go here to the Ghoul Town index, let's put him back to level 1. 130 damage, normal mythical 89, secret 170, and back to level 175 would give us a grand total of 27 billion. Over at the Ghoul Star, VIP price is 2.25 million for each star, which would mean 3 million if you are not a VIP, and the pity here goes up to 9k. Which means that for VIP users, the price for each mythical White Reaper would be 20.25 billion, and for the entire craftable unit 60.75 billion, and for non-VIPs 27 billion for each mythical unit, and the entire craftable would cost 81 billion. His ultimate is a little bit slow. It takes roughly 6 hits to charge, and it's really nothing special. He just spawns a red shuriken in his hand. You'll see it right here, and basically he just slices when he does a red AoE around him. Next up, we are moving over to Hunter x Hunter, and this craftable is honestly one of my favorite units in terms of looks. You can honestly just already guess that it's Killua, and he looks pretty damn good for a normal crafted. He's not even a shiny one. So over here, fighter index, level 1, 140 damage, the mythical Buddha does 94, and Adult Gon does 170. In comparison, his His level 175 counterpart would do up to 28 billion damage. Over at the Hunter star, 7.5 million yen for each star. Without VIP that would mean 10 million each, and our pity still remains on 9k. Which means that for VIP users, each copy of Buddha would cost 67.5 billion yen, and the entire craftable Killua would be 202.5 billion, and for non-VIPs, 90 billion for each mythical Buddha copy, and for the Killua, 270 billion yen. Killua again with the fastest ultimate in the game, just one hit, and honestly one of the nicest animations that I've ever done. Even the enemy moves basically when you just grab him, which is pretty cool. And you see if you retreat basically at the time that you attack, you even drag the mob with you, which is a pretty cool interaction actually. Look at this, I'm just gonna retreat now and we're gonna drag him with us. Pretty nice. Next up we have Sword Art Online, aka Virtual Castle, and next to me I have the craftable unit here, Senkai Max. It looks pretty nice, he has the butterfly wings, and he has two swords, one black, one red, pretty nice. Let's head over to the index tab. Swordsman star right here, 30 million yen for each star. For VIPs, for non-VIPs that would be 40 million, and the PT goes up to 10k on this one. Which means for VIP users, one landmine would cost you 300 billion, and the entire Senkai craftable would cost 900 billion. For non-VIPs, one mythical copy 400 billion, and the craftable would be 1.2 trillion yen. His ultimate is a 5-hit ultimate. It takes a little bit of time to charge, where he basically just lunges backwards. He sets up his swords on light and he lights up here on the ground and he just dashes through. Next up we are an empty dimension, aka Bleach, and next to me I have Black Slice, aka Mugetsu, the craftable fighter for this area. If we go here, Black Slice here, level 1, 150 damage, Falcon does 100 and Eiko 190. His level 175 counterpart would do 31 billion. Over to Empty Star, it costs 112.5 million yen for VIPs. For non-VIPs that would round up to 150 million, and the PT is 11k for this one. Which basically means each Falcon copy would cost you 1,237 billion yen, and the craftable Mugetsu would be 3.712 trillion, and for non-VIP players 1,650 billion for each Falcon and nearly 5 trillion for Mugetsu. Now Mugetsu has the slowest ultimate in the game. It takes 8 entire hits to fill up the bar, which is equal to Boros, which is also super slow, and when he does his ultimate it looks kind of fine. He goes back and he does like this gigantic black beam, extends it up to the sky, and then he just smashes it towards the target. Next up, we're over on Curse High, aka Suzuki Kaisen, and next to me I have the no blindfold version of Gojo. He looks pretty nice. He has the lightning bolt around him, pretty good, which is purple hollow by the way for those of you who watch the anime. And if we head over here to the index, level 1 counterpart, 160 damage, his normal version, the normal mythical 110, and Sukuna does 200, so kinda balanced again as usual. His level 175 counterpart does 33 billion. Over here at the Curse Star, price is 375 million yen for each star pool, and for non-VIP players that would be 500 million with a mythical PT of 13k. Which means as a VIP, one copy of Blindfold Gojo would cost you 4.875 trillion, and the entire craftable no blindfold would cost you 14,625 billion yen. And for non-VIPs, 6.5 trillion for each copy of the mythical Gojo, and nearly 20 trillion for the crafted. Gojo is another super slow unit, 8 hits for his ultimate. It really takes a while for him to get onto it. However, it's actually worth it in terms of looks, because the animation is amazing. They basically recreated the Hollow Purple. See the combines here, and boom. Beautiful ultimate. I really like it. Next up, we have One Punch Man and Saitama here right next to me. You see Bald Hero. He's also pretty big because I have a giant passive on him. And let's head over to the index before we do anything. XYZ Metropolis. So level 1 Bald Man here, 170 damage. His normal mythical part is 110 and Boros would give you 210. Let's go ahead and put it level 175 as well, 35 billion damage. Onto the Power Star. For VIP users it costs 1,125,000,000 and for the non-VIPs it costs 1.5 billion. And the pity here, we actually don't have that yet. Let's go ahead here and spin a little bit. There we go, we got a legendary. So the pity is 12k. Which means as a VIP unit, each copy of Saitama, the mythical version, would be 13.5 trillion and the craftable Saitama would be 40.5 trillion. And for non-VIPs, it would cost 18 trillion for each mythical Saitama and 54 trillion for the crafted version. Saitama, another super slow unit, 8 hits to charge up his ultimate, and there we go. He disappears for a second, he turns into Fire Aura and he just does the punch. Next up we are on 7 Deadly Sins, or 9 Crimes Island as it's called in game, and the crafted fighter for this one is Demon Meliodas. Honestly guys, the whole model is so damn bad on this one. I don't like it at all. I really liked his model before the rework, before the game shut down, but ever since the game came back, I think he's my least favorite unit by far. The only thing I like about him is on the shiny craftable how he has this purple stuff around him, but the unit like itself is pretty ugly in my opinion. The armor is really bad, that's what I dislike the most. But anyway, let's go over to the fighter index and see. Level 1 Melio, level 1 damage 180 is a secret from the island Estarossa, 230 damage, and normal mythical would do 120. His level 175 counterpart would do 36 billion. Over at the Sin Star here, for VIPs 3.75 billion yen for each star, 5 billion if you are not a VIP, and the mythical pity is 13k. Which means that for VIPs it costs 48.75 trillion for one mythical Melio, and the entire craftable Meliodas would cost you 146.25 trillion. For non-VIP players, 65 trillion for each copy, which would result in 195 trillion for the craftable. He has a really fast animation in just 4 hits, however his ultimate is really not that impressive, he just has a whole bunch of purple slashes on the target. Next up, we are over on Destiny Island and we have the Saber craftable unit here. Again, the model is pretty generic and it looks pretty boring besides the weapon that she holds. But let's go over here to the fighter index. Level 1, 190 damage, and Gilgamesh does 130 and the Jean does 240. Level 175 counterpart would do 38 billion. The Destiny Star costs 15 billion for VIPs and 20 for non-VIPs, and the pity is 13k. Which means, as a VIP player, each Gilgamesh costs 195 trillion, so the Saber would cost you 585 trillion yen, and as a non-VIP player, you would need 260 trillion for each Gilgamesh copy, and a grand total of 780 trillion for a copy of Saber. She has a pretty slow ultimate as well, takes 8 hits to charge up, and it's also a pretty generic one. She just goes backwards and she slices with his sword. This one is kinda cool, however, animation is not particularly interesting. We have finally reached over to the last world, which is Black Clover, aka Lucky Kingdom, and I have the crafted fighter here next to me, Bravery, aka Asta Demon form. And oh boy, does this guy look pretty damn good. I really like his looks. I like his aura as well. He's like one wing as well on the side. And he's sort of half demon, half human. He looks pretty damn good. And oh boy, is he a strong one. Let's go over here, Lucky Kingdom. So level 1, 200 damage as opposed to 130 on the normal. And the secret is 250. His level 175 counterpart would do 40 billion. The shiny is just out of this world, 70 billion. Crazy strong one. Over to the luck star, 60 billion yen for VIPs and 80 billion yen for non-VIPs with 13k PT, which means as a VIP player, each mythical costs 780 trillion and the Asta craftable would cost 2.34 quadrillion, and as a non-VIP, each Spirit Warrior mythical copy would cost a little bit more than 1 quintillion, and the Demon Form Asta would cost 3.12 quintillion yen to make. Asta has a really fast ultimate. It takes just 3 hits to charge up the ultimate, where he does a weird slash and he just spawns a whole bunch of rocks around the target. Anyway guys, that was pretty much it for this video. We covered every single craftable unit in the game as of right now, how they look, what their damage is, how their ultimate looks, and their PT price to get. As always, remember, this is just an estimated PT yen, which means if you are extremely unlucky and you don't get it prior, so the chances are you are gonna make the crafted in a price that's cheaper than what shows on the screen. Now, this video took a while to be made actually, and I would really appreciate if you guys hit that like and subscribe button down below. It helps me out a lot, and make sure to click the notification bell as well to not miss any of the future uploads. And until the next one, take care.